Nate, JMFW Worldwide, here to talk about some topwater fishing. Some of my favorite fishing is topwater fishing. Not some of it, all of it. I love topwater fishing so much that at any given time you'll see these lures, if not two of them, all of them, tied on rods in my boat. I want to talk about the difference between a walking bait, a popping bait, and a just reeling bait. I'm not going to even call the Whopper plopper a prop bait. This is a prop bait. This lane changer is a good prop bait when post-spawn fish are garden fry and when bluegill are bedding. I like to throw this on 15-pound mono, maybe even a 50-pound braid to a 15-pound mono leader about 7 inches long. Never fish a prop bait with straight braid because your braid floats, and when this thing moves forward, your prop gets hung up. So remember that. You got to use monofilament for your prop baits like that. Now, I'll use braid in big open water, out on deep trees, out on points, and even against the bank. A walking bait, such as a rover, is really hard to beat. Schooling fish, super hard to beat. So I'll fish this mostly over deep water, long points, and bluff ends. I love to throw the walking style bait when the water's fairly slick, nearly calm, and when you're seeing a lot of schooling activity. Okay, now I will implement the popping style bait. This is a bubble pop, river to sea bubble pop. I'll employ this also around bluegill beds, and it's a lot slower fishing. You can't cover as much water. Mayfly hatch, very important that this be employed. When the mayfly hatch and you see mayflies all over the top, this is the best bait that you can throw out of all the topwater baits that we have here. All right, so mayfly hatch, pull out a popping style bait. Again, I'll throw this on straight braid and a loop knot, or I'll throw it on 15-pound monofilament if I got whatever rod handy. It's a smaller lure, so I can't really throw it on my big braided rods like I do my Whopper plopper. Now, my favorite of all favorites, the Whopper plopper. This thing works great, mostly after post-spawn, all the way to winter. I'm talking to 55-degree water temperature. This is not an open water bait, meaning I don't go over and throw this on big flat points and open water. I like to use the Whopper plopper against the bank and at targets inside the boat docks, like from the boat dock to the bank, over the cables, through the woods. I like to employ this in clear water, not dirty water. And I like to cover a lot of water with this, which means if I'm in open water, I'm just going down bank with no obstacles in my way, I'll throw this on my Cashin 7/8 plopping rod, Johnny Morris Platinum, 8-to-5 gear ratio, I believe, 50 or 65-pound braid. But in open water, 50-pound braid, and with my 7/8 Cashin plopping rod, I can throw this thing 100 miles, and you want that because these bass will follow a topwater lure a lot. You don't know it. So you want him to have as many opportunities to smoke your lure before he sees the boat and you. So, open water, 50-pound braid, Maxima. I use an 8-carrier braid by Maxima, 50-pound on that. If I'm up and around cables and I'm throwing at specific targets, I'll use 65 8-carrier braid Maxima. It's super limp, super strong. You won't break this line, so don't put this thing somewhere you're going to get hung up unless you're willing to walk out and get it, because you can't break braided line. So there's a little bit. We got multiple sizes, all these baits, and they all have their very distinct sound to them. The rougher the water is, go with the bigger sound, the bigger plugs. The slicker the water, the calmer the water is, downsize the sound, not just downsizing your bait. You may not heard that before, but downsize your sound, okay? A little chop on the water, you want the big rover. When it's a little slicker, all right, you want to throw the little one. It's not near as noisy as the big one, all right? So check that out, fish the conditions that you're fishing in, and throw the right plugs. If it's really, really super breezy outside, you don't want to throw the 75. You want to throw the 110 and the 130, my favorite, right there. So hopefully this little 3-minute video will help you out to catch more topwater fish, and make sure you pair it up with the right braided line with Maxima or the right ultra green Maxima 15-pound monofilament. Very important that you're throwing the right line for these baits.